Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We've got a lot to cover today, a lot. Some major updates on a lot of things, and of course, Daddy's home. Trump landed back in the United States yesterday, so Trump is back home, who has been given the new title of Daddy by the Secretary General of NATO. And I love that the president's team at the White House, they are some media savvy people. They put out a video. Daddy's home is the title of the video, and it shows Trump at the NATO meeting, and then it shows him returning home. It says Daddy home over the screen. That's a pretty funny thing. And the whole daddy thing was actually started by Tucker Carlson, remember, during the campaign. We've got so much to cover. I'm going to start with this classified briefing story. On yesterday's show, I was ahead of everybody in the media on two things: the New York race and what has to be done, and this classified docs case. But this CNN classified documents story, no one other than me is covering the main story. Everyone is doing that old-fashioned burying the lead. Burying the lead. The real story is not what's being covered. The real story that's being asked and discussed and printed and endless discussions about for a couple of days now. They even were asking the president about this at the NATO press conference, which was just multiple questions about it. The question isn't about the attack or the effectiveness of it. They're reporting that the attack was ineffective. Because, the liberal fake news media always want a negative story about Trump. But that's not the story. The story is not how effective or ineffective it was. We know it was effective. We got the ceasefire now. The ceasefire is ongoing. And we do have confirmation that the nuclear site was taken out. The real story is, why is it okay for CNN to be in possession of classified documents? This leaker committed federal crimes, which may be, is it espionage? I know it's espionage if you give classified documents to a foreign nation. Is it espionage if you give it to a media outlet to broadcast to the world? Is that espionage? Has the leaker at the Pentagon, with this after-action report on the bombing in Iran, have they committed treason, the leaker themselves? But President Trump had his home broken into with a fully armed SWAT team of FBI agents with machine guns who broke into his home, invaded his home, tossed his office, broke into his safe, tossed Barron's room, went through Melania's underwear drawer and closet. They took the contents of Trump's desk and dumped them out on the floor because they said that he had a classified document he wasn't supposed to have. Now, of course, he was allowed to have it. He was president of the United States. And he wasn't broadcasting whatever documents they thought he had. So why was a federal SWAT team called in to break into the home of a president of the United States? But CNN, what they're doing, I do believe, is treasonous. And let me tell you what they're doing. First of all, they're in possession of classified military Pentagon documents involving an ongoing military action. The results of these reports and the behavior of Iran could cause more bombings. It may not be over yet. So they're in possession of these illegal documents. That's one. And it would seem a whole bunch of people about. And they're not just, Trump's documents were properly secured in Fortress Mar-a-Lago. He legally had the right to have them. We know this. Even the court agreed. CNN has no authorization or secret clearance. So not only are CNN in possession of classified documents given to them by someone who stole them illegally and gave them to them, they're broadcasting to the world, which would include the enemy, information about the effectiveness, according to the documents they have, on the attack on the nuclear facility. So how is this legal, what CNN is doing? Because we were told that to have classified documents without a security clearance and giving them and having them without authorization is a crime. In Trump's case, they charged President Trump with a crime for that. He had to go to court and be arraigned. President Trump was arrested. A president of the United States not just had the SWAT team of the FBI break into his home with machine guns, but they arrested President Trump, and he had to show up for an arraignment at the federal courthouse in Miami. Remember that? So what's going on with CNN? Should Kash Patel and Dan Bongino be busting into the CNN headquarters and taking the computers and other electronic devices of these people that are in possession of these classified documents? I would say yes. In fact, I pulled up a CNN story on the Mar-a-Lago case. This is from August 9th, 2022. Here's the headline. CNN, FBI executes search warrant at Trump's Mar-a-Lago and document investigation. The FBI, this is CNN, in August 22, the FBI executed a search warrant Monday at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida, as part of an investigation into the handling of presidential documents, including classified documents. Well, wait a minute. CNN's broadcasting classified documents on their global network, including, back to the CNN story on the Mar-a-Lago break-in, including classified documents that may have been brought there. 3 people familiar with the situation told CNN. The former president, who's now our president again, confirmed that FBI agents were at Mar-a-Lago and said, they even broke into my safe. He was at Trump Tower in New York when the search warrant was executed in Florida. My beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, is currently under siege, raided, and occupied by a large group of FBI agents, Trump said in a statement Monday evening. The extraordinary move to search the home of a former president raises the stakes for the Justice Department and comes as Trump's legal problems continue on multiple fronts. The search began early Monday morning. Again, I'm reading from CNN. The search began early Monday morning, and law enforcement personnel appeared to be focused on the area of the club where Trump's offices and personal quarters are. The FBI search included examining where documents were kept, according to another person familiar with the investigation, and boxes of items were taken. Following the National Archives' recovering of White House records from Mar-a-Lago in recent months, the FBI on Monday had to verify that nothing was left behind. Trump's son Eric told Fox News' Sean Hannity the purpose of the raid, from what they said, was because the National Archives wanted to corroborate whether or not Donald Trump had any of these classified documents in his possession. So what's going on? CNN, they have classified documents on an ongoing military operation, and they're broadcasting them. Trump had documents that he was authorized to have, and they were locked away. The National Archives, back to CNN, the National Archives, charged with collecting and sorting presidential material, has said at least 15 boxes of White House records were recovered from Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. When is Kash Patel going to go over to CNN and get those documents back? We're going to take our first break of the day. What's going on here? Our number's toll free. I want to hear your thoughts on this at 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show. We'll be right back. My goodness. Now, guys, I put a link in there to a book. One of our chat room family members has a book out that they're trying to help themselves and their family by selling copies of it. If you could click that link and purchase a copy, you'd be helping them out a lot. The link is pinned in the live chat, and there's also a link to the book in the description. It's called The Flower Story, okay? So if you could click that link, and if you can purchase a copy, it would help them out a lot. So give me a call about this at 1-888-465-2631. I mean, this is insane. This is complete BS. Why are they allowed to have classified documents, but Trump gets arrested, who was a president of the United States, a former president at the time? He gets arrested for it. And why is no one covering this angle of the story? I find it disgusting. I really do, and I'm pretty fed up with the way that it's being handled. Let's see here. Okay. We'll be back shortly. I mean, this is insane. It's completely insane. I'm still setting things up. I was a little behind schedule this morning. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. So President Trump gets arrested for having classified documents as a president of the United States that he legally had, but CNN can have classified documents about an ongoing military operation, broadcast them to the world and to the enemy, and that's okay. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. I want to hear your thoughts at 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Nick Avery. I'm calling from North Carolina.
Yes. What's up, North Carolina?
I just wanted to say that I think people like you are the problem with this country still supporting a terrorist after watching him try to drag us into another war in the Middle East that we have no fucking business.
There we go.
in.
First dump of the day. First dump of the day. You know, oh boy, I tell you, first dump of the day, first call, first dump. Was that a woman talking that way? Man, oh man. We have very few rules on this program. One of them is you cannot use profanity, okay? 1 call per day, and you cannot use profanity. And it seems to me that liberals are pretty much incapable of speaking without using profanity because they're angry and mental patients. Now, you guys know PJ. He calls from time to time, PJ. He goes on our cruises. He's a good guy. I ran into him a couple weeks ago over at Friendly Tire in Margate. Well, PJ, his name is PJ Gladnick, and he's a writer with Newsbusters. And he has a column today at newsbusters.org. And Newsbusters is a very good conservative news website. If you're not familiar with it, newsbusters.org. PJ's article, PJ Gladnick. I did tweet this on my X at Brian Craig Show. You can find it there. And PJ's story today, CNN's Iran leak spreader was a Hunter Biden laptop fake news perpetrator. Yeah, this reporter over at CNN that's been the lead on this story was one of the lead people that said the laptop was fake. It's a good article. You guys should check it out. And he talks about possible arrest for these people. You can go read the article, newsbusters.org. PJ's a good guy. His columns are very good. And every time he has a new column, I always read it. So check it out. Again, I did post it to my X, and it's about this very thing. And I'm glad to see his article because, the thing with what's going on here with CNN, everyone's covering this story, but they're not talking about it from this comparison between how they treated President Trump with classified documents and how CNN's about ready to win a Pulitzer for not just possessing illegally classified documents, but broadcasting them to the world. All right, let's go see if our callers can refrain from profanity. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? It's going to be one of those...
Hey, Brian, this is Tom from Northwest Ohio.
All right, Tom, what's on your mind?
So I just got on the live. When did all this happen?
When did all what happen?
So
when did all what happen?
Are you talking about when Trump was originally arrested for this?
Well, all
new breaking stuff?
No. 2 days ago, CNN was illegally became in the possession from someone, a leaker inside the government who's committed treason, in my opinion. They were given classified information after action reports on the bombing in Iran. These are classified documents. In fact, they're so classified the documents are reports that were not even complete yet. CNN took these illegally obtained classified documents on an ongoing military action against Iran and had broadcast them over the air. So what I've been saying is, well, wait a minute. A couple years ago, they arrested Trump and broke into his home because they said he had classified documents. Why did Trump have his home broken into by federal agents with machine guns? Why did he get arrested for having a classified document, which, by the way, he legally was in possession of? But CNN not only is allowed to have classified documents on an ongoing military operation, they can broadcast them to the world and to the enemy, and no one's knocking on their door. There's a problem here.
Yeah, Kash. I don't know what's going on with Kash Patel. I was a huge supporter of him. I was glad that he got the FBI director job. I'm highly disappointed with what I've been hearing about him. If it wasn't for places and news people like you, I'm an over-the-road truck driver. So that's why I asked if this was something new.
The CNN aspect is the CNN stuff is new, and you compare the way they treated things. And I've been saying this for a few weeks about Kash and Bongino. I think that they put up this image that they're these tough cops and federal agents, but I don't think they know how to do. I think they're posers. I think they're posers.
I agree completely.
They don't.
I completely agree. I think that they buffaloed all of us, to be honest.
Well, I think in Bongino's case, I don't know. I don't know about Kash because I didn't follow him as close. I mean, I know who he is and I watched interviews, but Bongino I was a big fan of, and he's created this whole persona around him that I think was a lot of hype. I know he was a cop in New York. He was a Secret Service agent. I get that. But I don't think he was like a field cop or agent. I think he was a desk jockey like he is now, and he doesn't know how to do the job. But he, put on the tight T-shirts, got all pumped up, and he's got a great voice and created this personality that just isn't really, it doesn't seem to be what he really is.
Exactly. It resonated with us at the time because that's what we needed compared to what we had. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of us now are sitting here completely baffled on where they really stand, because there's no clear way to tell where they're actually headed with what they're doing and where they stand.
Yeah.
I know more about Cash than Bongino, and I don't want to take up much of your time. I greatly appreciate you taking my call.
Yeah.
And again, I thank you for keeping guys like me informed, because
well, thank you.
Without guys like you, I wouldn't know half the stuff. So
all right.
I appreciate it.
Well,
Take
I
care.
appreciate you. Thanks so much. He's a long haul trucker. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
Hey, I just don't think that, you said you think Bongino had a desk job. I believe he was very experienced. We've gone back and forth on this. I do believe there's things going behind the scenes with Bongino and Cash. I just trust Trump. With this leak, Brian, can you imagine if that was Obama president and a Republican didn't yell?
Well, first of all, I always trust Trump, but maybe Bongino fooled him, and I think what we got is a padded resume here of abilities, is what it sounds like to me. I mean, there was a major FBI press conference in L.A. during the battle for L.A. a couple weeks ago. Bongino wasn't there. They arrested our president for having classified documents after they broke into his house, the FBI, with machine guns. But CNN can broadcast classified documents on an ongoing military operation, and they're not over there. I'm sorry. This is outrageous.
And that hypocrisy of the difference between a Democrat and Republican, or conservative liberal, however you put it, when it comes to justice, is one of the biggest things we hope Trump would change.
Yeah.
And I believe that's coming, Brian. In my heart of hearts, I believe that's coming. And that the Democrats are sinking themselves, and it's getting worse from day to day. And what we're going to see is, in the midterms and in 2028, the result of what's going on. I do believe in the bigger picture. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I hope that Cash and Bongino step up to the plate and have this massive deluge of
I want to
information.
see. This is what. Listen. This is, I want to see a high-profile arrest of the leaker who's committed a major crime.
That's what I was just going to say.
And the cuff should be put on him by Bongino or Cash. Okay, this is a high-profile story. Yeah, exactly.
By both, Brian. And this is the thing, like you said, this is high treason, what happened. And we want to see results now. We're done. We've been waiting for so long, correct? And we want to see some. And there's one more thing that it has to do with uncovering stuff, is the Epstein list. Why hasn't there been some massive arrests there too? Because I think that's a huge.
I don't know. It seems to. I'd like them. I'm more worried about this than the Epstein list right now. Okay.
Correct.
And we're at a point where these two guys, if I was off the air, I'd say they would have to blank or get off the pot, right? They got to do. Right. They need to do something to show that they're the real deal. And there's no better opportunity than this. This is an obvious crime. Whoever the leaker is, who I'm sure they know who this person is right now. If not, they'll know soon. There needs to be a high-profile arrest by these guys with a perp walk.
And can I add one more quick thing, Brian? For the longest time, I said I don't trust Tulsi Gabbard. I just something about her I never did. And I believe that she's part of that problem. I don't know why, but I still feel that way about her. And I'm just curious what you think about what she's been doing.
Well, I don't know. I got to go by what Trump says. And I haven't heard Trump say anything other than she was wrong. Now, if Trump comes out and start, so as long as Trump is still with her, so I got nothing. All right, I got to run for the break, Jeff. All right, take care. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to tell you guys, this may seem a little far out, but Attorney Barry Siegel recently had a Saturday Medicaid workshop, and it filled up long before. And there's another one coming up, and I know this is early, but I want to tell you guys about it now so you can reserve your seat. It's Saturday, July 19th at Attorney Barry Siegel's main office in Boca Raton on Military Trail. And it's Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The last one filled up real quick, and a lot of people wanted to go that couldn't, so Barry has added another one. It's a free Medicaid seminar, and I'm going to give you the number for Attorney Barry Siegel's office. Give them a call. I don't have. If I just give the number off the top of my head, I might accidentally give out Barry's cell phone. So let me look at my list of numbers here. Make sure I give out the right one. Give the Siegel Law Group a call and reserve your spot for this upcoming Saturday Medicaid workshop. And I'm telling you, the last one filled up fast. Call now. I know it's early, but if you call now, you'll have your spot reserved. The office opens up at 8:30. They do have someone answering phones now, but you can give them a call, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. You can also find their number online at SiegelLawGroup.com. We'll be right back. Are you not sleeping at night? Well, it's probably because you're not sleeping on a MyPillow. And with this incredible new special that Mike Lindell is offering, you got to get your MyPillow. In fact, not only should you get a MyPillow for yourself, you should, if you already have one, get them for all of the beds in your house. Get them for your friends. Get them for your families. This is an incredibly low price. Right now, with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, you can get a MyPillow for just $17.98. The first one I have, I got it 10 years ago. I still sleep on it. I paid $65 for it. Now you can get the same pillow with that patented fill for just $17.98. That's with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. You see why I'm so well rested? Because I sleep on the MyPillow each and every night. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. Call or go to the website right now. Use our promo code and stock up. This is a very good deal. It won't last, so take advantage of it. $17.98 for a MyPillow with our promo code KANE. What a deal. Order yours right now. Oh, man. Yeah, this, you guys have heard PJ call in so much. He's a good guy, and that's a good article. Normally I go through the articles on the air, but I don't want to go. I want people to go and check out his article and follow him on Newsbusters. I lost the clip from my headphones. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Now, what do you guys think about this, though? Okay, am I right or wrong that the leaker should be arrested by Cash and Bongino, and that and after what they did to President Trump at Mar-a-Lago, shouldn't they go over to CNN and seize all the documents and the computers and their devices? Shouldn't they do that? And these this classified information, who are they sharing it with? How many people have access at CNN? Somebody asked about my hat. This is made in the USA. These official Trump hats from the Trump store, made in the USA. Always, guys, people ask about that a lot. Now, not all of my MAGA hats are made in the USA, but the ones from the official Trump store definitely are. They don't all have tags telling you where. And it's a federal crime to put a Made in the USA tag on something that's not made in the USA, and this is from the official Trump store. Mm-hmm. We will be back shortly. Again, make sure you subscribe if you're new. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, The number is toll-free, and it's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. All right, let's see here. Mm-hmm. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Oh, God, no, my hairline is not receding. Are you kidding me? I haven't lost a hair. I have too much hair. I have to get it cut so much. Welcome back, everyone. 36 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We're talking about CNN in the possession of classified documents that they're sharing worldwide on the air after President Trump was arrested for legally having classified documents. That's what we're talking about here. All right, to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Sandra from Indiana. It's a different one.
Hey, Sandra.
I'm calling in about this. I feel that there is a mole that somehow got confirmed. And plus, I wonder if anybody thought, is there a stenographer that takes notes during these meetings if they are not leaking the information out? And it is really sad that people that do this will take money, will let themselves get paid off instead of loyalty to their country and to their president, and that these liberals, because of the hate of one man, are willing to destroy America over their hate.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, I don't think that there's a mole in the cabinet that leaked out this information. You know, the staff of these different offices, a lot of them are lifelong federal workers, and those people tend to be liberals. Mm-hmm. So this is whoever leaked this is the type of person you would usually see on a James O'Keefe video trying to impress a date over a meal, telling them all kinds of stuff. A Trump hater that is in the bureaucracy, committed, I believe, treason and perhaps even espionage. I mean, if you give classified information about an ongoing military event, which the bombing of Iran is ongoing, because they could go back and do it again, and you give it to CNN to broadcast it to the world where even the enemy has access to this classified information, how's that not treason? And should Kash Patel and Bongino go over to CNN and start arresting people and taking their computers and phones who are in possession of these classified docs?
I have lost confidence in those two. And if you remember, when Hamas went in to invade or start the attack with Israel on the 7th, they actually had a CNN reporter with them because you could see the microphone that said CNN. Yeah,
remember when CNN was part of the team that broke into Roger Stone's house at 6 a.m? I mean, yeah.
But there is somebody high up that gets this information.
Well, my guess is that at the level that this information was at, it's highly classified, an incomplete report. They probably know or already who did it, or have it down to a couple of people. It's not, there's
sad that money means more than loyalty.
I wouldn't
and
say that.
saving
I
our
wouldn't say this
country.
person did it for money. They may have done it out of their Trump derangement, out of their hatred of President Trump.
Yeah, that too. That too. But it just makes me sick. People want to destroy America just because they don't like Trump.
That's right. I know it's crazy. All right. Appreciate
I'm
the call.
sorry,
No, you're right,
Thank
Sandra.
you.
You're right. Appreciate the call. You can tell she's upset. I know. I get it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
You know, this leaker with these documents. One, the leaker should probably at best be going to Leavenworth or some place like that.
Yeah.
But CNN, CNN itself, not just the reporter. The reporter should be going to jail as well. But CNN, what can you do to a network other than get the FCC involved?
Yeah, there's no oversight with that. With this, they've if you people will say, well, if you're in media, it's okay to have classified documents if you're a journalist. There was a case, the Pentagon Papers, with the Washington Post during Vietnam. Mm-hmm. The Washington Post was given a bunch of classified information, and it went through the courts, and there was a ruling that because it's illegal to be the leaker that takes the classified information and gives it to the media, but it's not a crime for the media to possess them, is what the courts ruled at the time. Now, I don't know if that's settled law or if that's an isolated incident, but I do know this. If you have Twitter, if you have a Twitter account, your X, your media, the definition of media has changed. So Trump is media. He owns an outlet, True Social, right? And he's big on the social media. Anyone that uses the internet now and posts to social media is media. And I'm media. Is it okay? Would CNN be okay with me having classified documents? If I had classified these same documents that CNN has, if I was in possession of these classified documents, what would happen? And I'll remind you guys, the feds broke into many people's homes for that Ashley Biden diary. Remember that? They broke into Giuliani's apartment in New York. They hauled James O'Keefe out in his underwear over the Ashley Biden diary, and that wasn't even classified information. That was just Ashley Biden's personal diary that she left behind at the rehab. So there's something wrong here. All right, appreciate the call, Mike. Listen, what I'm mostly frustrated with is no one in the media is talking about this in the way I am, with this comparison to how they treated our great president. Okay, you missed your chance. What number? Okay, if you're on hold, hang in there. 1-888-465-2631 is our number. And it's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. And, a lot of people also say, well, nothing's going to happen, or the double standard. I'm not here to say, I'm not giving them a pass. The Pentagon Papers is a whole nother thing. And I really, it burns me when people say, well, there's that double standard. So what? You're when you say that, you are giving them the free pass that they think they are entitled to. And I'm here to tell you, I'm not giving anyone a free pass, especially these people. Now, I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. I ran into PJ over at Friendly Tire in Margate a couple weeks ago. And, I've been a customer at Friendly Tire for about 20 years. He has thousands of used tires in stock, by the way. He got a whole bunch of new used tires as well. And he has very good used tires at great prices. And a couple of times I went to Friendly Tire, I got used tires. He asked me, you want new or used? I just said, I assumed that the new tires were outrageously expensive for my four-wheel drive Jeep Wrangler I had at the time. And one day I just asked him, well, what are the new tire prices? And when he told me, I said, no, not used, new. And he's like, no, that is the new. And I was like, oh my goodness. So, you can get brand new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $70 a tire. That's amazing. And out the door and on the road at Friendly Tire, what I mean by that is Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or dispose of your old tires, okay? It's a pretty good deal. Very, very affordable prices. And I see people with every type of vehicle you can imagine at every income level. I've run into listeners over there with new and classic Vets and Porsches and everything you can imagine. And I've run into listeners in rust buckets, and everyone goes to Friendly Tire and Margate. If you have a Tesla, he's got the special tools needed for Tesla tires. And by the way, just incredibly low prices. We have listeners that drive more than an hour each way just to go to Friendly Tire. On one of my cars, I have run flats. Holy smokes. The prices on run flats is so low at Friendly Tire and Margate, it will blow your mind, okay? No matter what type of vehicle you have, he can help you. You know what a lot of people do, too, that have leased vehicles? Because, when the lease is up, you don't want to get dinged on the tires. I run into a lot of listeners who lease vehicles, and when the lease is up, they go and get the new tires at Friendly Tire because the prices are so good. Give Mike a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone, 954-977-9445. Make sure you tell him you heard about him on the Steve Kane Show. He'll take extra good care of you. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire and Margate. We'll be right back. Are you not sleeping at night? Well, it's probably because you're not sleeping on a MyPillow. And with this incredible new special that Mike Lindell is offering, you got to get your MyPillow. In fact, not only should you get a MyPillow for yourself, you should, if you already have one, get them for all of the beds in your house. Get them for your friends. Get them for your families. This is an incredibly low price. Right now, with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, you can get a MyPillow for just $17.98. The first one I have, I got it 10 years ago. I still sleep on it. I paid $65 for it. Now you can get the same pillow with that patented fill for just $17.98. That's with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. You see why I'm so well rested? Because I sleep on the MyPillow each and every night. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. Call or go to the website right now. Use our promo code and stock up. This is a very good deal. It won't last, so take advantage of it. $17.98 for a MyPillow with our promo code KANE. What a deal. Order yours right now. All right, guys. Hey, by the way, that MyPillow commercial, I recorded that in my podcast studio that I just set up a few weeks ago. I am so disorganized this morning because I was having some issues before the show, and I can't find all my stuff. Okay, that. I need that. There it is. All right. All right. We will be back shortly. A little more than a minute. Yes. Welcome. If you're new to the program, welcome. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We'll be back in about a minute. Okay, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, please do. Our number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631. So far, the calls have been pretty good today. You guys have contributed quite a bit. 888-465-2631. This morning, I was thinking about taking a trip because I did not realize that the Alligator Alcatraz that they're building is in South Florida. I had no idea. And I know where it is. It's down in Miami. And I was thinking about heading over to go to the Alligator Alcatraz to make a YouTube video. Would you guys like that if I go to Alligator Alcatraz? And I know where that area is, but I haven't been there in a long, long time. And there's so much development going on in Florida all the time. So I went on the maps to find the best roads to go to get there, and it is out in the boonies, man. I mean, it is the Alligator Alcatraz. It is so remote, deep in the Everglades. I'm thinking that if I go, I might rent a car because, well, I'm certainly not going to take my new car there, and I don't even know if I want to take my old car there. Right? It's so out in the middle of nowhere that I might rent a car because who cares about the rental, right? and head out there. But it's so deep in the Everglades that it's about 90 minutes from my house in Boca, even though it's in Miami. It's in Dade County. It is. I mean, if you were to see where it is, the Alligator Alcatraz that will be operational this summer. It's more remote than Alcatraz Island. There's nowhere to go. So I will be going there soon. I don't know when. I was thinking about going today until I saw exactly how deep in the Everglades it was and how far it is each way to get there. And then when I get there, I don't even know if I'll be able to it's in such a remote place that I don't even know if I'll be able to pull the car on the side of the road. That's why I'm not so sure about taking one of my cars, because if I have to pull off into an Everglades area, I don't want to be taking my car necessarily into the glades. But if you are in the Alligator Alcatraz and you escaped, you wouldn't make it. You would not make it. There's nowhere to go. And the only place you could go would be to surrender to the guards looking for you. It is bad. In fact, it's so remote. I'm a little nervous about going to Alligator Alcatraz, but I'll go there soon. I don't know if I'll go today. I will try to go over the weekend if I can, and I'll make a video and show you guys on YouTube. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. You called me. What's on your mind? Not much, apparently. See, we started off good on the calls today, and then it's been a... But, and I'll tell you, just let me finish about the Alligator Alcatraz. When I was a kid, in the late 70s, my father was a prison guard at a maximum security prison here in Florida in Belglade. And that prison, at least in that old form, those old buildings, is no longer operational. I was in Belglade a couple years ago. I went by the prison, and it was a work camp. You ever see Brubaker? Remember that movie Brubaker? It was kind of a prison like that. And that prison, it was a work camp with farms and everything where the prisoners worked. It was a maximum security prison, no air conditioner or anything, in Belglade, which is kind of like on the lower southeast side of Lake Okeechobee. And it was so incredibly remote. I mean, there was nowhere to go there. That is like a metropolis compared to the Alligator Alcatraz. And, one of the things that this is one of the things people don't understand on the left, because the country in so many ways has gotten so soft, right? Alligator Alcatraz is meant to scare people. You don't want to, who wants to go there? And I'll tell you, I'm a little nervous about just driving there because of the remoteness of where it's located out in the middle of the Everglades. And I know it's an old closed down airport that they're refurbishing. There's a lot of things that they were going to build in the Everglades that are partially built, you know. And there was another airport they built out in the middle of the Everglades they never completed that was going to be for supersonic jets because of the noise, and they wanted to have the airport out in the middle of the Everglades. But the Everglades it's not just the pythons and the alligators, which are bad enough, but the muck. You know, you think you're on land and you're not. You sink in that muck and you're stuck. It's like glue. And I remember in the 90s, there was a major plane crash in the Everglades. ValueJet. Anybody remember ValueJet? And it crashed nose first. I remember I was at the Fort Lauderdale Air Show the day of that crash. It crashed nose first into the Everglades. And I remember the news helicopters flying over the scene of the crash, and they were giving you an aerial view. You couldn't see the jet because it had sunk in the muck, which is it's kind of like glue. It's kind of like quicksand. It's a mixture of all those things. And the grass out there, the sawgrass, it is like a saw. It's like a razor. It will cut you. So you've got the sawgrass, which by itself is deadly as knives. You've got muck, which you sink into like quicksand and you can't move because you're like glued in. Plus you have the alligators, which will eat you. The alligators don't just eat you. What they do is they drown you, alligators, and they put you under a rock or something and soften you up and come back and eat you later. And now it's infested with pythons, you know, because there was a big trend in the early 2000s, late 90s of people having pythons as pets. They got too big. People let them loose in the Everglades. And a lot of people believe that pythons are now the top of the food chain in the Florida Everglades, not alligators. And I've seen videos online of the pythons killing alligators. So, you know, it is a scary place. And the scariness of it is a deterrent from ending up there. So if you're an illegal in Florida, what are you going to do? Are you going to risk going to Alligator Alcatraz, or are you going to self-deport? And I would think most people, if they had a choice, would self-deport as opposed to going to this unair-conditioned, dangerous Alligator Alcatraz. It's not a secret location. If you look it up online, you know, if you're not a local, you may not understand how remote it is. But if you are local, you'll be like, holy smokes. There are people that have lived their entire lives in Miami that don't know about the area that the Alligator Alcatraz is in. Now, I noticed this morning, oh my goodness, I was on the road this morning, and I saw thunder and lightning out over the ocean this morning. I mean, and yet it's hurricane season. It's rainy season. And if you got a wet spot on your ceiling, you have a leak in your roof. You want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. He can handle a roofing job of any kind, residential, commercial, municipal. He works with every type, not just of structure, every type of roofing material. He can handle a job of any size, whether it's a single-family home, a single office building, or an HOA with over 300 units. He can handle it. He's a good MAGA guy. If you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. He won't sell you a roof you do not need. And he gives out his cell phone. And this is his actual cell phone because Tom and I text a lot. And this is the number that he texts me from. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. Take care of that leak before the rains and the storms come. It is hurricane season. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break. Are you not sleeping at night? Well, it's probably because you're not sleeping on a MyPillow. And with this incredible new special that Mike Lindell is offering, you got to get your MyPillow. In fact, not only should you get a MyPillow for yourself, you should, if you already have one, get them for all of the beds in your house. Get them for your friends. Get them for your families. This is an incredibly low price. Right now, with our promo code KANE at checkout, Kane, you can get a MyPillow for just $17.98. The first one I have, I got it 10 years ago. I still sleep on it. I paid $65 for it. Now you can get the same pillow with that patented fill for just $17.98. That's with our promo code KANE at checkout, Kane. You see why I'm so well rested? Because I sleep on the MyPillow each and every night. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, Kane. Call or go to the website right now. Use our promo code and stock up. This is a very good deal. It won't last, so take advantage of it. $17.98 for a MyPillow with our promo code KANE. What a deal. Order yours right now. Okay, all right. We will be back shortly. I am so disorganized this morning, guys. I am usually so organized, but not today. One minute, we'll be back. 30 seconds. No, it wasn't JetBlue. It was ValueJet that crashed in the Everglades. Yeah, there was an Eastern crash, too. There's been multiple crashes in the Everglades. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Before I get back into Trump, I wanted to play this idiot, Jamal Bowman, over on CNN.
You can't be calm about this. I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart disease... I'm white, I can't comment. Listen to what I'm saying. The reason why heart disease and cancer and obesity and diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day.
Okay. When is the last time you've seen a white person call a black person the N-word? You know, white people won't even say that word. The only time I hear the N-word used, in particular people being called the N-word who are black, are by other black people. So, you know what I wonder about Jamal Bowman? Well, good, you know, this is the guy that set off the fire alarm, remember? Interrupted government business during that House vote. He's no longer in Congress. That's a good thing. So this is what I wonder. Is he hallucinating and think that people are calling him? You know, Jamal Bowman is a jerk. I saw him yelling at his own staff once on stage during a speech. And no one likes this guy. No one likes this guy. Even his own staff that he was reprimanding on stage in front of a crowd. It was an event he was at with AOC. There were a lot of people there. And Jamal Bowman, who's a very unpleasant person, like a lot of people, are not into taking personal responsibility. So instead of saying, well, you know what, I act like a jerk and people don't like me, he blames skin color on it. But think about this. When have you seen a white person call a black person the N-word in your life? And if you've ever seen it, when was that? Now ask yourself this. When is the last time you saw a black person call another black person the N-word? I saw that this week. Right? I mean, that's, I did. I'm not kidding, by the way. And you may have as well. So I don't know what Jamal Bowman's talking about here, but he's a disgusting person. Now, I want to talk, though, about this great thing yesterday that happened when the Secretary General of NATO called President Trump daddy. And this has caused a lot of meltdowns in the press and around the world because, Trump derangement syndrome is deep in the bones of so many people. But, here's the thing, okay? It's summertime, kids coming home from college. What happens when kids go to college? Right, they start doing all kinds of things they shouldn't be doing. Sex and drinking and drugging and everything else. That's part of college life. You ever see, I've seen this in my life, mostly with girls, but the girls come home and they gain that weight because they've been drinking and things like that. And the reason that kids go crazy when they go off to college is because dad's not around anymore. And they can run free. Well, that's kind of what's been going on in the world. And, the world, it's been a while. The last 4 years, we've had no leader in the world. The president, there's an old title that's unofficial that the presidents have had, but that I haven't heard used in a long time. That the president is the leader of the free world. They used to say that a lot. And in the last 4 years, there was the world was leaderless and it went into chaos. And the Secretary General of the United Nations, when he called President Trump daddy yesterday, not only did he mean it, he was excited that daddy's home and back in charge. You need to have someone in charge. We had 4 years without a strong president, and look what happened. We've got these wars breaking out all over creation. And President Trump had an incredible press conference yesterday at the NATO summit with Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth behind him. Did you guys watch this? I watched the whole thing. It was very, very good. And it was funny to watch. Marco Rubio was cracking up the whole time because of the way Trump was handling the fake news media, the global fake news media, not just the American fake news media. And there were some people in the media that were upset about this daddy thing. One reporter even asked I might play some of this later, but one of the reporters, foreign reporters, even asked President Trump, do you see these countries as children? And they are, and they've been misbehaving, and they've gotten out of control. But during that press conference yesterday, Trump went through these wars. The ceasefire between Iran and Israel has held. Now, that doesn't mean there's not isolated incidents, and don't count what goes on in Gaza as a break of the ceasefire, even though Iran's behind a lot of that, okay? The ceasefire has been pretty stable the last couple of days. He listed a couple wars that I didn't even think about. He ended this war, the 12-day war he ended with Israel and Iran. He's with just a couple of phone calls, he ended what could have turned into a nuclear confrontation between India and Pakistan, right? He ended another war with, was it Rwanda and Uganda that were going at it? He ended that. And then there was another one that I can't remember what it was, another African country or two. I can't remember. This president has ended, let's see, these 2 wars in Africa, the India-Pakistani war, and he's got the ceasefire with Iran and Israel. There's 5 wars going on in the world. He has ended 4 of them in just a couple of months. He's ended 4 of the 5 conflicts going on in the world today. And that is absolutely amazing. There's no one been more deserving of the Nobel Peace Prize than this man. I was blown away by that. And what happens? What happens with the left? They're mad at him for it. And there's one he hasn't ended because you've got two corrupt lunatics, Putin and Zelensky. But he's ended 4 out of 5 wars. That is just absolutely amazing. Why is that? It's because Daddy's back. Daddy's home, back in the White House. We have a leader in the White House. America is again the leader, not just of the free world, but the leader of the world. And for those of you that say tariffs don't work, you idiot liberals with your Rachel Maddow stupid talking points, tariffs don't work? Really? That's how he talked about this in the press conference. That's how he ended what could have become a nuclear conflict between India and Pakistan. He told them, if you don't stop this, there's no trade. Boom, it was over. Then Spain, all of a sudden, they don't want to pay their NATO dues like everyone else. This came up in the press conference yesterday. And President Trump had a great response because he's a businessman. My wife and I started watching season 1 of The Celebrity Apprentice, which was 20 years ago. Piers Morgan is on it, and Omarosa, and a bunch of other people. Lennox Lewis, Mary Lou Henner. It's very, very good. Don Jr. looks like he's in high school in the first season of The Celebrity Apprentice. It's very good. I mean, I almost couldn't go to sleep last night because I wanted to watch the next episode. It was so good. It was so good to see him. And it's just amazing that he's the president, but he thinks like a businessman. So Spain, they're being all butch. We're not going to pay our union dues. Forget it. We're not going to pay for it. So a reporter asked President Trump about this. He says, we're going to make them pay it back in tariffs. Trump's going to raise the tariffs on Spain if they don't pay their union dues, their 5% GDP. And he's going to do it with the stroke of a pen. And, he said they're going to pay more. And that's even better because all the money goes to us. If it goes to NATO, it gets divided and spent in Europe. So they're going to pay more. What other president thinks that way? None of them even would think of it. And if they did, would they do it? He's going to do it. Now, he's going to talk to Spain first. But if they keep trying to butch up and stand up to Daddy, boom, there goes the tariff. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Joe Rosenberg, Long Island.
All right, Joe.
A little cold here. Bear with me.
All right, Joe.
But yeah, so I don't know what the deal is, but on Facebook, maybe it's the algorithm, but they're pushing everything I see. Maybe it's because I'm watching the dang videos, but I don't think it's anti-Semitic necessarily. But it's a lot of videos about Jews and the history going back. And then Candace Owens comes up, and I've been hearing you say about she's anti-Semitic.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's true. Maybe it is true.
It is true.
She's got a lot to say about Jews.
Well, if you're seeing a lot of things online, like on Facebook, that are like anti-Israel or anti-Jewish, you're getting pushed things because that's what you've been watching. So these social media algorithms just give you more of what you've been watching. So you go out of your way to watch things from anti-Semites. I don't know why you do that, but so you're going to get more and more of it if you keep watching it.
It's just been very, I don't want to say entertaining, but then I go and look up the information on Wikipedia, and a lot of what they're saying is true and accurate.
Oh, really? For example?
That's the scary part.
What is true and accurate? Give me an example. Something that the anti-Semites say that's true and accurate.
Specifically, I guess. Okay, here's one. The term penny pincher comes back from England.
Now you say you're Jewish.
Well, yes.
What kind of Jew are you? What kind of Jew are you?
Not a Hasidic Jew, but so let me just explain.
No. There's other. You said you're not Hasidic, so what kind are you? This is
not a very good Jew.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
I don't go to church.
Come on. He doesn't go to church. You know, here we got an anti-Semite on the line who's trying to pass himself off as a Jew, and he doesn't know anything. He doesn't go to church. You know, this is not funny. The rise of anti-Semitism in this country is frightening to me. It is frightening to me. That's why I talk about it so much. It's become normal. And anti-Semitism was completely eradicated, almost. You're always going to have people that don't like you. There's people that don't like me. You're never going to have, I know, can you imagine there are people that don't like me? What the heck? You're never going to have everybody like everyone. But anti-Semitism kind of faded away. And it is back, and it is growing in this country. And, you know, there's another one that we were dealing with. Now, I want to talk about Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. You've been in a car accident? Oh, my goodness. If you've been in one, you know the pain. You don't usually feel it right away all the time. I mean, sometimes it's the next day. It's the day after the next day. It's the day after the next day. And, you know, you get in a car accident, you got all kinds of pains. You really do. And Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment treats those aches and pains you have, not just from car accidents, but other kinds of accidents that you have around the house, slip and fall accidents you have out and about. The laser treatment works on all those things too. I had no idea. It makes sense because my skateboard accident, I slipped off the skateboard and fell. Busted my shoulders. A couple times I did that, and Dr. Appleton treated me. And he said, yeah, it works on accidents too. I had no idea. I didn't even think about that. You know what it is? When you're in pain, you just want help. You just want relief. You go see Dr. Appleton. He treats you with the laser treatment. There's no shots, no injections, no addictive medications, no medications at all. It's 100% painless. And the pains, you know, he rids you of pain and you kind of forget about it. You don't think about it. You just want relief from your pain. So every once in a while, I'll talk to Dr. Appleton. So if you've been in a car accident, whether you've been a driver or a passenger, or an Uber or a Lyft, and you're suffering in pain from that car accident, go see Dr. Appleton. Remember, walk-ins are welcome and appointments are never necessary, even on Saturdays. If you have x-rays or scans, bring them with you. It's a no-charge consultation, 954-973-0710, 954-973-0710, and online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? We'll be back in a little more than a minute. Well, the leaker and CNN shouldn't CNN face if they arrested a president of the United States, Donald Trump, for having a classified document that he legally had? Why is it okay for CNN to have classified documents? Why? Shouldn't they be arrested too? All right, 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Coming up on 22 minutes after the hour on this Thursday morning, I'm going to go back to the phones. We've covered a lot, but I am going to go back on that CNN story in a little bit because it's very important. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, you're on the air. Yes, you're on the air. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Patrick.
All right, Patrick in Ohio. What's on your mind?
I just was listening to the last call that you had, and it seemed like there might have been some sort of confusion.
He said, I asked what kind of Jew he is, which you know what I mean by that if you're Jewish. And he said, not a good Jew. And then he said he doesn't go to church. He's been missing church. So he was fake. He was pretending to be a Jew and trying to say some anti-Semitic things, and try to act like he was. It was okay for him to say it because he's Jewish when he's not. You know, it would be like someone calling me saying they're black and then start dropping the N-word, but they're white, and saying it's okay, I'm black when they're not. That's what he was doing.
Sort of thing. You know the protests that were happening against what was going on in Gaza in New York. There were of like Jewish guys, like Hasidic Jews, and
yeah, I've seen the protests mainly at Columbia University, which, by the way, Columbia University should be completely shut down permanently. It is not a university; it is a place to recruit anti-American terrorists and American haters from within. It's a hate university. I don't necessarily
mean college students. I mean like elders, guys with like white hair. These sort of like. Okay, what about the
protest?
People who have been practicing like Hasidic Judaism for a long time, like in the Jewish neighborhoods.
And what were they? What were they doing?
Having protests supporting Palestine against the Zionists.
Well, if what you say is true, I didn't see this, but if what you say is true. What I would say is you have some useful idiots.
You think that these Jews have been fooled by someone?
Well, I don't know who you're talking about because I didn't see what you're referencing. So I'm talking about kind of just in theory. If what you said is true, you have useful idiots. Some of the most vocal anti-Israel people here in Florida, where I live, are Jews, liberal Jews.
You're in Florida.
I'm in Florida.
Like same communities. So
what?
You have these groups of Jews in your state.
Well, I give you an example. Okay, President Trump refers to Chuck Schumer as a Palestinian. Chuck Schumer, he's one of the senators from the state of New York. He's Jewish. And President Trump calls him a Palestinian. Why does he do that?
I could not tell you.
Because he's a Jewish guy. He's a Jewish guy who supports the people that are trying to exterminate the Jews in Israel, the Palestinians. Same goes for Bernie Sanders. There's a lot of liberal Jews that support the people that are trying to kill them.
There are a lot of Jews in Israel that put on like they're liberal and then
I don't know. I don't know. But you know, you're always going to have useful idiots.
Are you aware of like the recruitment videos that try to like move people from America with Jewish ancestry to Israel, the Zionist movement?
Oh, we got another one on the line here. See, this is what I mean about the rise of anti-Semitism in this country. You know, this guy that you on the phone, it seems that you spend a lot of your time trying to find negative things about Israel. Why does Israel exist today? Do you know why?
I suppose you're going to tell me.
No, you're opposed to Israel, but you must know why it's there. You seem very well informed on everything anti-Israel. Why does Israel exist today?
Israel exists because the Ashkenazi Jews wouldn't be accepted anywhere else. The British didn't want them after World War II, and neither did the Americans.
No,
the Americans took their fair share, but Churchill
the reason it exists is the reason that it exists is because anti-Semites like you and that previous caller were trying to exterminate Jews.
I'm 2% Jewish. I don't practice.
I don't care what you are. 2%. You're what?
I'm 2% Iraqi Jewish.
2%. So would you get some 21 one of those DNA tests? So what? I don't care what you are. You're 100% stupid.
I mean, you care if I'm an anti-Semite. You're trying to call me an anti-Semite.
You claim to be 2% Jewish? I mean, come on. What are you? It's like talking to Elizabeth Warren. You're 2% Jewish. So because you claim to have some DNA test that shows you're 2% Jewish, you think it's okay for you to assist in the Holocaust that's going on here? I mean, come on. But the reason no, I'm not. And you notice this is the second day in a row anti-Semite has asked me if I'm a Jew. This is crazy. No, I'm not. I'm Christian. I'm Catholic. But the reason that Israel exists is because anti-Semites like you and the previous caller and others try to exterminate Jews from the gene pool of humanity. That's why Israel exists.
So they could have their own community.
God gave the land of Israel to the Jews. The reason Israel exists today is because before the world, when the Nazis first took over, okay, and started oppression against Jews, even in countries they were taking over, many Jews tried to escape Europe so they didn't get killed. And the countries of the world, including the United States, would not take them in. So after the war, when the world saw the horror of the Holocaust, Israel was established as a country so that Jews would have a safe place to go if a Holocaust ever happened again.
Would you believe me if I told you that there was...
I wouldn't believe anything you said, okay? All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I've got a full board of calls. Even the line where I let that guy go is now full. We'll go back to the phones after the break, all right? Our number is 1-888-465-2631. And I'll tell you, when I talk about this rise of anti-Semitism, I've had a caller today, it just happened, and a caller yesterday asked me if I'm a Jew. I've never been asked that before by a caller, ever. Ever. And now it's becoming like a regular thing with callers. Are you a Jew? What the heck? It's like 1933 Munich here. We'll be right back. If you're a Medicare recipient or about to turn 65, listen up. I want to talk to you about Medicare. Medicare, it's confusing. That's done on purpose, right? You go online, what do you find? More confusion. You know, a lot of people, they try to go it alone or they deal with someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about, and what happens? It ends up costing them thousands of dollars sometimes each year. And also they find out maybe their doctors or the medications, they might not be covered either. That's where Chapter comes in. You know, Chapter is the only national Medicare advisor that compares all of the over 24,000 plans out there for you. They'll find the one that's right for you and your budget. And no matter where you are in the United States, Chapter can help. You're going to get answers, you're going to get them fast, and you're going to get them for free. So whether you're on Medicare right now or turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number's also in the description of the episode. You're going to talk to a real person. They're going to walk you through everything step by step. No gimmicks, just real help. Because the right plan, it can save you thousands. Again, the number 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Get your Medicare questions answered free. 805-754-3033. Your health and your wallet will thank you. Are you not sleeping at night? Well, it's probably because you're not sleeping on a MyPillow. And with this incredible new special that Mike Lindell is offering, you got to get your MyPillow. In fact, not only should you get a MyPillow for yourself, you should, if you already have one, get them for all of the beds in your house. Get them for your friends. Get them for your families. This is an incredibly low price. Right now, with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, you can get a MyPillow for just $17.98. The first one I have, I got it 10 years ago. I still sleep on it. I paid $65 for it. Now you can get the same pillow with that patented fill for just $17.98. That's with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. You see why I'm so well rested? Because I sleep on the MyPillow each and every night. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. Call or go to the website right now, use our promo code, and stock up. This is a very good deal. It won't last, so take advantage of it. $17.98 for a MyPillow with our promo code KANE. What a deal. Order yours right now. Oh boy, we'll be back shortly, guys. I mean, these are really disturbing, dark calls. I mean, they are really disturbing. I have never had someone ask me if I was a Jew before. It's happened 2 days in a row. I mean, that's scary. That really is scary. If you're on hold, stand by. Every line on the board is lit. Completely insane. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Holy smokes. I mean, these are some really scary calls we're getting here. Every line on the board's lit. I'm going to go back to the phones. I've covered a lot, so let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, yes, I am Mac. I'm 22, and I'm from Minnesota.
I'm sorry about that.
Why are you sorry about that?
Who's your governor? You got a lunatic governor who's in league with China.
I personally don't care about that currently. I think there's much worse problems right now in the U.S.
Really? What's the biggest? Tell me the biggest problem you see in the United States.
For one, I think deportations. I believe that it's absolutely unjust what's happening right now.
Deportations. Okay. Let me ask you. Okay, you're 22 years old. Are you? Yeah. Do you live on your own? You have your own apartment, or you live with mommy and daddy still?
Right now, I do have my own apartment.
You have your own apartment.
Work, 2 jobs.
You work 2 jobs.
I work.
Okay. When you go to work, when you leave your apartment, that good for you. That's awesome. You're on your own at 22. That you're a man. When you leave your apartment in Minnesota to go to one of your 2 jobs, do you lock the front door or do you leave it unlocked?
I leave it locked.
Really? Well, why can't some undocumented illegals come and use your house during the day when you're not home?
Because they don't need to use my house.
No. What I mean, what do you know? No, your house. You work 2 jobs. So how many hours? How many hours a week do you work? You have 2 jobs. You're a hardworking guy. How many hours a week do you work?
It depends on the week. I'm a
average.
I'm a contract. Like 52, 53. So I work part-time.
Man, that's like over 2 days. So you work 50 hours plus a week. Your house, your apartment is empty all the time. There's a lot of people out there that are illegals that could use your home during the day. If an illegal knocked on your door today, would you let them in with their family to use your house while you're at one of your 2 jobs?
If they needed to.
What do you mean? But how do they get in? You lock the door. Why don't you put a sign? Why don't you run an ad online? Run an ad online somewhere and say if you're an illegal immigrant and you need housing, come stay in my house when I'm at work all day.
The thing is, there's an obvious difference between a country and me as an individual. Now, the country, people who actively go through this process, people who actually do have the documentation, it's just not filled. It's just not applied to like.
Okay, you know, every year. Okay, no, okay.
Do you know how many? Do you know how many taxes illegal immigrants paid the last year?
What kind of tax? You mean income taxes?
I mean, in general, how much did illegal immigrants?
Well, first of all,
pay,
if they're illegal, they don't have Social Security numbers to pay taxes.
That is absolutely untrue.
Really?
Illegals still pay taxes.
What kind of taxes do they pay? What kind of taxes?
Well, for one, income taxes.
No, you can't pay. Excuse me. To pay income taxes, you have to be documented. You either have to be a legal worker in the United States or have a Social Security number. If you're in the country illegally, you don't pay income taxes because you don't have the documentations to file income taxes. You're undocumented.
That is untrue.
How does someone without any documentation pay taxes to the federal government?
So it's through the individual taxpayer. I don't remember.
What your talking points that you have you have incomplete talking points. If they're purchasing things, they're paying sales tax, right? If they're registering a car illegally, the tag fee is a tax. When they buy gasoline, they're paying gasoline tax. But if they're not paying income tax. The reason that you lock your door is hold on a second. The reason you lock your door is because with all your high and mighty liberal do-gooderness, you really don't want to share.
I'm not a liberal.
I know. You're probably more conservative than me, you'll tell me. But
I'm a leftist.
Have you ever left the country?
I have.
Where have you gone?
I have been to Germany. I have been to Norway. I've been to Italy. I've been to Cuba.
As a tourist?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a U.S. passport?
Yes. I did live in Germany.
You live in Germany. Okay.
Time.
So why did you have a U.S. passport when you went to all these countries?
Because for one, I was born in the U.S.
Yeah.
And I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have
okay.
a passport.
So what would have happened if you landed in Norway and you didn't have a passport? Would you have even been? What would have happened?
Wouldn't have let me in. But the issue
Correct.
with that.
So hold on. No. Excuse me. No. Slow down for a second here. Respect your elders. Okay. You're 22. I'm older than you.
Okay.
Exactly. You were a guest in their country as a tourist, and they wouldn't let you in without a passport. Mm-hmm. So why do you want to let people in from all over the world without any documents to suck off of our country with their free housing and their free food and their free education and everything?
Because for one, they don't always have the ability to gain a passport.
Sure they do. They give out passports in El Salvador. Mexicans have Mexican passports. You can get Venezuela gives out passports.
Not everybody has. The thing is, not everybody has the ability to get a passport.
Sure, you do. Why not? Why not?
That's not true. You don't. Because people from lower income families don't always have that ability. That's just completely untrue.
Why can't you? So you're telling me that Mexicans can't get Mexican passports in Mexico?
When people flee a country that was destabilized by the U.S., I don't believe.
What country was destabilized by the U.S. that they're fleeing from?
Cuba.
Hello?
Cuba.
Cuba was not destabilized by the United States. The Cuban Revolution, the Cuban Revolution led by Fidel Castro, destabilized Cuba.
That's completely untrue. What sanctions? How many years of sanctions has Cuba endured?
Oh, the reason we have sanctions on Cuba is because they don't have free elections, and if they would have a real free election, the sanctions would be lifted. However, we're the only country that has. Excuse me, we're the only country in the world that has sanctions on them. Every other country in the world does business with them. The reason they're impoverished, they have no credit because they don't pay back their loans. Every other country in the world does not have an embargo. Only we have an embargo.
Untrue.
Okay. That is true. No, that is not untrue. That is a fact.
That embargo part is true. That embargo part is true. I'm not going to deny that. But I meant what you're.
All right. Listen, I gotta run, but I appreciate the call. My goodness. Oh my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I was just listening to the last call you had. I think that was pretty ridiculous. Pretty false what you were saying, no?
What did I say that was... No, it wasn't. What did I say that was... Hold on. Let me answer. My lines are ringing off the hook here. What did I say that was untrue?
I would say pretty much most of everything.
Pick the biggest lie. Pick one thing that I said that it was the most... untruthful. Just you said most everything I said was a lie. Most everything I said was untrue.
Why does it keep saying I'm on hold?
You're not on hold. What did I say that was untrue? Give me a specific example of something I said to the last caller that was untrue.
Honestly, can't think of it on the top of
my head.
Oh, you can't
think of it. Well, before you call someone a liar, maybe you should have an example of a lie that they've told. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Will from South Florida. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, so you keep talking about the people calling in and you're complaining about them being anti-Semitic because they're asking you if you're Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
How is that anti-Semitic?
With the two callers, okay, two callers have asked me that.
And by the way, they didn't say, are you a Jew? They specifically said, are you Jewish?
It's the same thing. What's the difference between being a Jew and being Jewish? What's the difference? Same thing, right?
So I still don't understand how that's racist.
Okay, I'll explain to you. All right. Now you're not going to agree because you're not going to agree with anything. If I told you the sky was blue, you would tell me it's not. But here's the deal.
You don't know that.
Okay.
You don't know that.
Yeah, that's called. I'm making an example. Okay, listen. They didn't just call in and say, "Are you a Jew?" We were having a discussion about Israel, and when I was exposing their anti-Semitism and telling them the reality of the situation with Israel and the United States and all of that goes along with it, then they said, "Are you Jewish?" To try to discount what I was saying, they were accusing me of being a Jew because only a Jew would say and think in such a way. That's what made the question anti-Semitic. It's the context.
The context.
Correct.
Well,
context means something.
What has Israel done for America?
They've been an ally of ours.
Can you answer that?
Yeah, they've been an ally of ours in the Middle East, a democracy that's been there since 1948 that's given some stability to the area. And they've helped us quite a bit. As an example, most recently...
How is that benefiting
Well, hold on.
America,
I'm giving you a very recent example. The taking out of the Iranian nuclear reactor was done in large part with the help of Israeli intelligence giving us detailed information on the facilities. That has no effect
on America.
Sure it does. We've been in a state of war with Iran since 1979, and we don't want them to have a nuclear weapon.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we have.
Who told you that, Brian?
I've lived through it. I've lived through it.
Okay.
But
In the 70s,
excuse me.
You lived through that.
I was born in 1971. Yes, I lived in the 70s.
Why
and I remember
is it
the
so
70s.
difficult
Yes.
for you, Brian, to admit that you actually are Jewish? Why won't you admit that?
Because I'm not. All right, appreciate the call. See, there's another one. Accusing me of being a Jew. Oh, my goodness. I mean, what is going on here? I've got 3 callers now accusing me of being a Jew. It's uncomfortable. Now, I want to talk about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's, which is, of course, I have. You should have it. And you can get a doorbell camera for free from Sloman's with the installation of your Sloman's Shield. It's a great addition to your home security. It's part of my home security. It's part of the radio station's security. And you can get one for free with the installation of your Sloman Shield. So you should do this. It also makes a great gift for your mom, your dad, grandma, grandpa, or your adult kids that are living on their own. Sloman's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call. Toll free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. We'll be right back. Oh my goodness, we will be back shortly, guys. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, there's one opening. Oh, no. Yeah, there's one opening. I added new lines and some more new lines, and they're filling up. This is a really scary time, people. It really is. A very scary time. We'll be back in less than a minute, and I'll go back to the phones. $30 seconds. We'll be back. 'Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. All right, I am going to go back to the phones. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jim Norwood.
Okay, what's on your mind?
I was just was wondering how you felt about Zohan.
I talked about that quite a bit yesterday. You're talking about this lunatic that won the Democrat primary for mayor of New York. It's frightening.
Man, you know what? Look, I really think you know what? The Democrat Party is so bad. This is what I really think. They all need to be kicked out of office, and half of the Republicans.
Okay, all right. Oh, boy, yeah. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
John Okeechobee.
Hey, John.
Things the Israelis have given us, as well as our neighbors, are things like being able to farm in the desert. They gave us drip irrigation, which saves money, saves water, saves energy. That's just one example.
Mm-hmm.
They've done quite a few things.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of things in combination with...
Well, listen, what's, these calls that have been coming in, some people want, what's so...
I can't believe them.
People wonder what's so frightening about these calls. The rise of anti-Semitism in this country, yeah. I'm here to tell you that I believe it's becoming mainstream in America today, anti-Semitism.
That's frightening. It really is. That's unbelievable.
And I've had two callers ask me if I'm a Jew, and a third one accuse me of being a Jew, a secret Jew. The last guy was, you're a secret Jew. That is nuts. I mean, I just can't believe that this is happening in our great country, yeah. And it has to do with the media and our education system. Yeah. But this is something we've got to call out.
Yeah, exactly. It can become frightening.
Mm-hmm.
It already is, really.
It is frightening.
But I just can't believe, because you get a pretty wide variety of people calling in. I can't believe how many consistent callers have had these weirdo ideas.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I've talked a lot about Candace Owens and these weird, bizarre anti-Semitic positions she's been taking. And a lot of it may be because there's such an audience out there for it, and she wants to trend or something. I mean, that's an audience I don't want. I'm here to tell you.
I think she's a foxy-looking girl, and good God, she comes up with these weirdo ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And Tucker Carlson, I haven't heard what he said anti-Semitic. I just heard enough to figure out easy.
All right, hey John, I'm going to let you run, but it's good to hear from you. All right, John's an old-time listener to the program. He disappeared on us for a while, but he's back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
PJ from Broward.
Oh, hey, PJ. This is PJ, whose article is in Newsbusters today.
No, I saw already.
Yeah. Oh boy, PJ. Scary times.
Hey, you know what? Somebody pointed out something interesting that for years the U.S. government was hounding Julian Assange for publishing leaked information, while at the same time this Natasha Bertrand, she just keeps getting promoted and promoted and promoted, even after it's shown that her news reports are fake news.
Well, one of the things, we talk a lot about Columbia and everything. The Columbia School of Journalism is where most of these people come from that are the CNN types. And, what comes out of Columbia? Lunatics.
Yeah. Well, she was she has a sort of interesting background. Like, she was educated in London, I think, some London School of Economics, which is sort of a...
Well, okay.
She's not very...
okay.
Well, I mean,
yeah, finish up, PJ. Finish your thought.
Well, no, she's obviously deep into the deep state thing.
Well,
that's her whole thing.
Jessica
she's a conduit for deep state.
Jessica Tarloff on the 5 went to the London School of Economics. I heard her mention once. And I imagine that's either a CIA school or a CIA recruitment school. Because anyone who's gone to the London School of Economics that I've known of, they seem like they're deep state to me.
Yeah, she's just basically a conduit for the deep state. She's not a real reporter. I mean, and just I don't know. It's just absurd that she keeps getting. She should have gone on an apology tour after. Was there any apology from her after it was shown that the Hunter Biden laptop was the real deal, not a result of Russian disinformation?
I don't even know if these leftists acknowledge the truth of the laptop now. But but PJ, what I've been talking about with this classified information, why is it okay for CNN to be in the possession of classified information from the Pentagon, but they arrested Donald Trump and broke into his home because he had it as a president? I don't understand. I mean, shouldn't Kash Patel be hauling these people from CNN off to jail like they did Trump and going there and taking their computers and devices? I mean, if they're arresting former presidents for possessing classified docs, why can CNN reporters do it and broadcast it all over the place? I don't get it.
Yeah, and by the way, that was a fraud too, because they showed file covers that were actually printed up by the FBI. Remember that? On the floor of the
yes.
I mean, it was so ridiculous. And one other thing, just got to get this off my chest is, how come we haven't heard, with all these government investigations going on, why haven't we heard from the last FBI director?
Chris Wray? Chris Wray.
Yeah, Chris Wray. Where's he?
I don't know. Hanging out with Comey, probably on the beach.
Well, no. I mean, Chris Wray's got a lot of to answer for. So I don't know. What was he doing this whole time with the the FBI breaking the Mar-a-Lago?
Well, listen, I got to run, PJ. But you made some good points. I appreciate the call. Now I want to tell you guys this special at Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Their July 4th special is in effect now and will end on July 7th. Take advantage of this. And Coastal Weight Loss Secret, they're offering 20% off for new patients. I'm going to give you the number in a minute. Coastal Weight Loss Secret works. I lost over 35 pounds. I went in and they said, how much you want? I said 25. And it was so easy. I lost about a pound a day, eating foods I would normally eat, not taking any prescription medications, and without exercise. So I just kept going. And now I'm at the weight I was when I got married 29 years ago. Okay, and it's great. Now I'm in the maintaining phase. I don't want to lose any more weight. I could if I wanted, but I think being at the weight I was 29 years ago was pretty good to me. And it's so easy, too, to maintain it. Because, when you're losing weight, you want to have a system like they have a Coastal Weight Loss Secret that when you're done and you've gotten to your goal, that you don't gain it back. And I haven't. Now, I just lost like 37 pounds, which is a lot for me. But if you want to lose less, 20 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, they can help you as well. And again, 20% off for new patients. This is their July 4th special, which is in effect now. You can call them no matter where you are located. Here's the number, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel when you call, and online, coastalweightloss.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Ben from Pompano. How you doing?
Hey, Ben. All right.
Hey, I wasn't going to call in, but man, I heard 3 Nazis and a socialist call in, so I had to say something. I thought it was hilarious that the socialists told you that the downfall of Cuba was at the hands of America and not because of socialism, where you can't even go to a grocery store and have nothing but 3 options to buy beans, olive oil, and some contaminated water. That how you can blame America for Cuba's falling when the very ideology he supports is the very reason that country is so destabilized and people are trying to flee.
And remember, the United States is the only country in the world with an embargo on Cuba. No one else has one. No one. And we still send things to Cuba. It's not 100% embargo.
And it's not like we don't deal. You know what I mean? It's like we don't deal with them for a reason. We're kind of pretty generous with the people we deal with. I mean, to an extent, we're dealing with China. We have sanctions on Iran, but we've dealt with Venezuela. Even though we sanctioned them, we still took stuff from them. So you really got to screw up for us not to deal with you. And then the other guys
got 10 seconds. Got 10 seconds, Ben.
Okay, your show's getting spammed by a bunch of Nazis. I don't know where they came from, but all 3 people asking you if you're Jewish, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm not anti-Semitic. Are you Jewish?"
Exactly.
As if that's going to win the argument.
Yeah. And it's
ridiculous.
insane. All right, take care. All right, we're going to take our break for the top. Be back with more of your calls after this. Are you not sleeping at night? Well, it's probably because you're not sleeping on a MyPillow. And with this incredible new special that Mike Lindell is offering, you got to get your MyPillow. In fact, not only should you get a MyPillow for yourself, you should, if you already have one, get them for all of the beds in your house. Get them for your friends. Get them for your families. This is an incredibly low price. Right now, with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, you can get a MyPillow for just $17.98. The first one I have, I got it 10 years ago. I still sleep on it. I paid $65 for it. Now you can get the same pillow with that patented fill for just $17.98. That's with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. You see why I'm so well rested? Because I sleep on the MyPillow each and every night. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. Call or go to the website right now. Use our promo code and stock up. This is a very good deal. It won't last, so take advantage of it. $17.98 for a MyPillow with our promo code KANE. What a deal. Order yours right now. Oh, boy. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. We'll be back shortly. I'll go back to the phones. Make sure you follow and subscribe, and I would appreciate that if you do. Less than a minute, we'll be back. This is our top of the hour break for the radio station. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Hour number 3 has begun. Back to our phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning, Brian. This is Chrissy in Vermont. Let me turn you down. Hold on.
All right, Vermont on the line. What's going on?
Good morning, Naga.
Yes.
I'm calling. We were talking about Zionists and everything. I'm calling. I was thinking the other day. You know how they call us Nazis and fascists?
Okay.
Yes, I was thinking that they need to realize what's going on. They're the ones now who support terrorists and are the Nazis, but they're calling us Nazis.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what it is? This is what I think. I think there's more people that, when you talk about millennials and younger, there's more people with a college education than ever before. And colleges have always been a hotbed of re-educating young people into communists and anti-Semites and all of these things. And since more people go to college, we have more brainwashed Americans. And because they have that degree, they think they're so much smarter than everyone else. And they've just been brainwashed into thinking a lot of craziness.
Yeah, that's true. Up in Vermont, in a college town, and all the neighbors, a lot of them are second homers, because they're all wealthy. But they, just even a neighborhood friend, I said, tell me about yourself. They're like, well, I'm really smart.
Of course.
Had to tell me. Everybody wants to tell you
Typical
how
liberal.
intellectual they
Liberals
are.
are always liberals always believe they're intellectually superior. They always want to believe.
Yeah, you had to always remind them that wisdom and knowledge is different.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. All right, appreciate the call. Take care. Yeah, some of the dumbest people I've known in my life have advanced college degrees. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. I guess the people out there don't know that you're Mossad.
Yeah. Hold on a second, Richie. You're giving out classified information here. What are you, CNN?
Yeah. You're really Mossad. Everything in the world that's gone wrong is the fault of Netanyahu and those damn Jews. I mean, Candace Owens got it right on a dime. She's such a winner. I mean, she's so full of venom. Just have to look at her face, and she's got a microphone out there. I remember this guy. You see, people in this country, their minds they're melted down because they can't remember what happened yesterday. But I happen to remember. I can remember. I'm not even going to go back to the Holocaust with Hitler. I'm going to go back to the Pearl when they had a big samurai sword sticking in his neck, and they had black hoods on, and they cut his head off for his mother to watch. This is the kind of people we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that crash into the World Trade Center.
Here's what's going on, Richie. Okay, I mean, and this is the reality. It's what I told the last caller. You're on hold, man. I heard. We have more people are college educated than ever before, right? So young people, you go to college and you learn how to hate America and hate Israel. And we have so many more. That's the same thing as hating Israel. We have so many college-educated people, more than we've ever had before, and their minds have been polluted with this poison.
Yeah, it is poison. I got to say something. This covers almost every topic that you brought up this morning. I look at the whole picture. I remember Brian Craig on the radio saying, "Don't go to Washington D.C. because it's going to be a setup." You had intuition way ahead of anyone else that this was going to be a setup in Washington, January 6th. And you just look, now you got Bill Clinton actually endorsing this communist that's going to be mayor of New York, or supposedly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But bottom line is, Brian, people better open up their eyes. We are literally, and they're taking sides of terrorists. They're saying, well, the Jews are bombing these poor people these terrorists that are hiding within houses. They could have ended this day one if they gave the hostages back and said, okay, let's forget about it. Remember who was attacked. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't put up with that 5 minutes if Mexico did that to us. So let's not be hypocrites out here. And then you got these people out there in California with ice, hitting them with glitter so they can find out where they are all the time because they can't get the glitter off. They're exposing it, and they're going after ICE agents. Yeah. This is a war. This is a war against America, and we are.
Well, listen, I'm gonna cut away for. I appreciate the call, Rich. I'm gonna cut away because I'm just gonna pull this up just briefly. If you're on hold, stand by. Pete Hegseth is having his press conference about the leaked documents.
For sure, I'm sure that's an understatement. John Radcliffe, the director of the CIA, putting out a statement just last night. CIA can confirm that a body of credible intelligence indicates Iran's nuclear program has been severely damaged by recent targeted strikes. This includes new intelligence from a historically reliable, very different than preliminary assessment with low confidence. He's saying historically reliable and accurate source and method that several key Iranian nuclear facilities were destroyed. and would have to be rebuilt over the course of years. CIA continues to collect additional reliably
by now. Events, the action that happened. When they start going to questions from the fake news media, I'll cut back to it, all right? But let's take some of these calls first. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Correct. And they'd still send that, even if it was documented and above board and everything else, they'd still be sending all that dough back to their countries.
Exactly.
Impacting negatively the economy.
Yeah.
So there's obviously we need to come up with better solutions and all of those things. And right now the solution that needs to work is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's absolutely mind-boggling that people can't grasp how the economy works. And of course they can't, because it's,
well, one of those
people.
idiots that called me was calling from Minnesota, where the Somalians have their own police in Minnesota, right? I mean, it's crazy what's going on there.
The Fed should be in there breaking that up.
Yeah.
And absolutely undoing all of that, because it's not even something that should be fathomable. Don't even try to go to England. I mean, not our country, not our problem.
Yeah, well, New York's turning into if this guy Zohan wins the mayor's race, we're going to have the UK, we're going to have England and New York City.
If I asked you a year ago, you'd ever be supporting Adams for mayor in New York.
I mean, and I'm not the only one,
like,
by the
hell
way.
no.
I'm not the only one. Other conservatives, George Santos came out and said what I said. Sliwa's got to drop out, and we all got to get behind Mayor Adams. And a lot
100%,
of yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I mean, and
you just can't have Cuomo decide to run as an independent either.
They said Cuomo's going to drop out. They said Cuomo's campaign said he's going to drop out, but President Clinton endorsed Zohan, and I'm assuming that Cuomo's going to endorse him.
Oh God, it's insane. And we talked, I think, last week as the strikes are going on. The only thing I'm upset about with what's happening now in the Middle East is I think it was just a touch too soon. I think they could have really got them another few days into submission even further and really had something that'll be better, longer lasting. Because at the end of the day, these guys aren't going to give up power. They're billionaires.
Yeah.
They're not going to give up their power in these countries. So they will come to Jesus, if that's allowed.
Yeah.
And understand that they need to actually have lasting peace. And, all we have to do is fly by again and continue to keep them in check. So
that's right.
The right strategy, the right way to do it, the right way to conduct the operation, just maybe a few days premature on ending it, just to make sure. But
That's
other than
right.
that, listen, we're all good. Thanks,
All right,
my man.
all right, take
Have
care.
a great one.
All right, appreciate the call. Great call. All right, let's go back to the phones. I am monitoring the Pete Hegseth press conference. They're just going over the attack and what happened, which we already know. If they go to questions while we're on the air, I will cut back to it. I am monitoring the press conference. I want to hear the Q&A because Pete Hegseth is ticked off at the media. Oh, boy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is your good buddy, Dave. Was that a press conference to reveal that, he should be arrested for his leaking of classified information, or was that for somebody else? There's so much, leaking going on. It's hard to tell.
Who are you talking? Pete Hegseth?
Yeah.
What classified information did he leak?
The attack on the Houthis.
He didn't leak anything. You're talking about the signal chat? No. Someone let in that creep. Excuse me. You brought it up.
They leaked it.
No. Someone at the Pentagon let in that reporter and the reporter leaked it. Not Pete Hegseth.
Oh, well, he was on it, and so it was leaked.
Oh,
right?
so guilt by association.
He's the leader.
No,
Can't
not
do
the leader.
job.
No, he's not the leader. The president's the leader. He's drunk.
Right.
What evidence do you have that he's drunk? He's drunk right now? How do you know he's drunk?
He's always drunk.
How do you know this? Where do you get this?
He's a drunk.
What do you mean we all know? Where do you get this in? Where do you get this in? Listen, when you're not
Shut up, Tart.
Okay, that's it. Not going to tell me to shut up. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, hello. I called earlier.
It's one call per day. It's one call per day. You can call another day. One call per day. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. How are you today? I thought in the background I heard General Raising Kane saying that the youngest military participant was 21 and the oldest was 28.
Yeah.
That is that amazing? Now, I wonder how many of these so-called intellectuals protesting in Columbia and Harvard University could handle something of that magnitude.
I couldn't handle it.
I mean, these could. Oh, no way. The maturity to handle that, and let alone the danger and the stress and the pressure. I thought that was incredible. We have B-2 pilots who are in their mid-20s or older 20s. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I didn't. You know, but this is the thing. You know, I love Pete Hegseth, and everybody loves General Raising Kane. You know, we've been hearing about him for years at the Trump rally. But we all know. Instead, this to me is a little defensive. This press conference. Okay, this is what we did, and this is what happened. They're trying to just, you know what I mean? I want to see. I want to see a press conference with Pete Hegseth and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi. We have just arrested the leaker.
Yeah.
Okay. This is defensive.
We need a high-profile takedown. We really do.
Yeah. Yeah. This is defensive. You know, this is. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm not crazy about the press conference.
Well, it'd be nice if Kash Patel and was there with Bondi and that. We do need a high-profile takedown to really get the thing, get a re-energized.
Whenever you're trying to defend yourself to these people, they're winning. You don't hear me trying to defend myself to these lunatic accusations I get on the line from callers.
No.
You know,
but you're not going to change their mind anyway. You know.
That's right. I mean, this is. I just think that the whoever leaked this very well may have committed espionage by giving it to CNN.
Yeah. Absolutely, you would think so. I think you could bring charges on him with that. I mean, you know, this is important stuff that's being talked about. I had one more comment about this guy running for the mayor of New York. This is so pathetic. I was looking at his plank that he's running on. Government grocery stores, defund the NYPD. This guy is a total radical loon job. I mean, he should be running for mayor of Havana or something like that. If this guy is successful in getting this nomination, becoming mayor, we are in big trouble. We got to somehow.
Well, and I got to tell you, he's problem. Okay, this guy becoming mayor of New York City is a major domino to fall, because the next thing that'll happen is we're going to have more Muslim city council members, and then some town on Long Island's going to have a Muslim mayor. You know, and this is what's going to happen. And what we've got to do is get beyond. First off, Curtis Sliwa. We're going to find out real quick if he really cares about New York, or is he just a publicity stunt narcissist. He needs to drop out. We need the Republicans and the Democrats on the national level come together, united in a bipartisan way, and get behind Mayor Adams. That's it. We got to do this.
I'm not a big fan of Mayor Adams, but in this case, we've got to support him. He's the best guy we have in the race.
We've got to organize support for him and expose this guy who's just this Zohan, it's all image that he's putting out. This guy is bad news.
The problem is he's good at putting out the image, though. He's really good on television.
He's very good on television, and he's got all these Hollywood people with him. You know, I saw Mayor Adams on television twice yesterday. He looks like he's asleep.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that's about. Is he normally that way? Is he low energy or what? Or is he depressed?
I think he's low energy, but he better be high energy, because this is the biggest election since getting Trump in the White House.
What's going
really
if this guy?
Level.
This is not an exaggeration. If this guy becomes mayor in New York City, this could very well be the biggest cultural sociological shift in America in our lifetime.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And if they keep talking about sleeper cells. I'm not worried about the sleeper cells. They'll take care of that.
Right.
What the enemies of America are doing is getting elected to Congress, becoming mayors and police chiefs and city councilmen and stuff like that, and judges. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
They're taking this over from within. They're doing it from within.
That's right. They're taking us down from the inside, and I hope people are aware of this. But this is a major election.
All right, I gotta run, but I appreciate the call. Callers on hold. You stand by. I want to again talk about this special, the July 4th special from Coastal Weight Loss Secret, 20% off for new patients. The July 4th special is in effect now and will end on July 7th. 20% off for new patients. When I first went to Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I started a week after Inauguration Day. Okay, because I met with Dr. Zuckerman over there. He said, "How much do you want to lose?" I said, "Listen, we got our annual listener cruise is coming up, our MAGA cruise, and I've gained some weight since the last cruise. I'd like to lose 25 pounds before the cruise, which was a month away." He said, "No problem." I said, "What?" I said, "I don't know about that." And he said, "It's not going to be a problem. You're going to lose the weight, Brian." And I lost more than that before the cruise. It was awesome. It was really awesome. It's amazing. It works. And I lost more than that. And I've kept the weight off. I haven't gained back an ounce. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. Take advantage of this July 4th special. 20% off for new patients. The July 4th special is available now. Will end on July 7th. Here's the number. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. Make sure you tell them when you call you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. If you're a Medicare recipient or about to turn 65, listen up. I want to talk to you about Medicare. Medicare, it's confusing. That's done on purpose, right? You go online, what do you find? More confusion. A lot of people, they try to go it alone, or they deal with someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about, and what happens? It ends up costing them thousands of dollars sometimes each year. And also, they find out maybe their doctors or the medications, they might not be covered either. That's where Chapter comes in. Chapter is the only national Medicare advisor that compares all of the over 24,000 plans out there for you. They'll find the one that's right for you and your budget. And no matter where you are in the United States, Chapter can help. You're going to get answers, you're going to get them fast, and you're going to get them for free. So whether you're on Medicare right now or turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number's also in the description of the episode. You're going to talk to a real person. They're going to walk you through everything step by step. No gimmicks, just real help. Because the right plan, it can save you thousands. Again, the number 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Get your Medicare questions answered free. 805-754-3033. Your health and your wallet will thank you. Are you not sleeping at night? Well, it's probably because you're not sleeping on a MyPillow. And with this incredible new special that Mike Lindell is offering, you got to get your MyPillow. In fact, not only should you get a MyPillow for yourself, you should, if you already have one, get them for all of the beds in your house. Get them for your friends. Get them for your families. This is an incredibly low price. Right now, with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, you can get a MyPillow for just $17.98. The first one I have, I got it 10 years ago. I still sleep on it. I paid $65 for it. Now you can get the same pillow with that patented fill for just $17.98. That's with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. You see why I'm so well rested? Because I sleep on the MyPillow each and every night. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. Call or go to the website right now, use our promo code, and stock up. This is a very good deal. It won't last, so take advantage of it. $17.98 for a MyPillow with our promo code KANE. What a deal. Order yours right now. All right, let's go back. They're starting to take some questions.
Days that make you, so,
Sir, I think I explained what changed. There was a great deal of irresponsible reporting based on leaks, preliminary information in low confidence. Again, when someone leaks something, they do it with an agenda. And when you leak a portion of an intelligence assessment, but just a little portion that makes it seem like maybe the strike wasn't effective, then you start a news cycle. whether it's the Washington Post or Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, you start a news cycle that starts to call into question the ethics. No, that's why. So you bring the chairman here, who's not involved in politics. He didn't do politics. That's my lane to understand and translate and talk about those types of things. So I can use the word obliterated. He could use defeat, destroyed, assess, all of those things. But ultimately, we're here to clarify what these weapons are capable of, which anyone with, two eyes, some ears, and a brain can recognize that kind of firepower with that specificity at that location and others is going to have a devastating effect. So we all recognize there will be days and weeks ahead. That's why yesterday I said, if you want to know what's going on at Fort O, you better go there and get a big shovel, because no one's under there right now. No one.
Okay, there we go. I don't know. I'm not too happy with the press conference. I want to see the leaker arrested. All right, we're coming back. 36 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We are back, and let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mark from Tampa.
Hey, Mark.
Good morning. So it's can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So I just wanted to comment.
Hey, William, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Well, metal's looking stable, up for the white metals, very much so, but the gold ran up to about $3,351, and now it's pulled back a little bit on profit taking. Yesterday we saw gold trade in a range of $3,310 to $3,337 the ounce, and closed out the day up $8 at $3,331 the ounce. Silver was up 34 cents at $36.19. Platinum gained another $37 yesterday at $1,355, and palladium was unchanged at $1,066. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $33.28 all the way up to $33.51, and as I said, right now we're at $33.32. That's up $1. Silver up 23 cents at $36.42 the ounce. Platinum, again, the big gainer, up $45 this morning at $1,400. We haven't seen $1,400 platinum in a long time.
Yeah.
So that's been moving very nicely. And palladium up $24 at $1,090. So the metals are stable and doing well, especially platinum.
Absolutely. Now, when it comes to platinum, can you talk to people a little bit about platinum and what kind of forms it's available in? Because platinum's a great metal.
Yeah, platinum is actually 15 times rarer than gold, a true industrial metal, and a lot of demand for it. It's available in 1-ounce bars, 10-ounce bars, and then many of the different countries make the platinum coins in 1-ounce sizes and some smaller sizes. And those come in from the Canadian maple leaf, Australia's platypuses, the nobles from Isle of Man, the maple leaves from Canada. U.S. Puts out a platinum eagle. So there's a lot of available products in the platinum family.
And you have them all in stock for immediate delivery.
All, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, yes. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. If you want to stop in, please do. If you can stop in, you should, because William Youngerman's shop in Boca Raton is literally a museum. You'll be blown away when you walk in. Many of the things we talk about are on display there, and it's just really beautiful. The address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto. And when you walk into the Bank of America building, William Youngerman's is directly across from the bank in the lobby. You can give him a call toll-free, 1-800-3 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and find both his phone number and address on his website, WilliamYungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman will finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, callers on hold, stand by. The Pete Hegseth press conference has concluded, and I'll share some thoughts on that in a few minutes. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, you faggot.
There we go. Second time is that the second or third time we had to use the dump today? Well, I'll tell you while we're waiting for the delay to re-engage, I'll tell you my thoughts on the press conference. And I mentioned this to a caller at the bottom. I love Pete Hegseth. I think he's the best Secretary of Defense of my lifetime, maybe ever. And everything he does is wonderful and great. However, I'm not happy with the press conference because I don't think it was necessary. We all know that the mission was successful, and it came off a little too defensive to have to go out and prove and counter CNN. You know, what's most important here is we have a leaker who has broken the law. They have given classified documents on an ongoing military mission, this against Iran, to CNN. CNN took those classified documents and have broadcast them internationally over their air. President Trump had his home at Mar-a-Lago broken into by the FBI with machine guns. They tossed his desk. They broke into his safe. They tossed Barron's room. They tossed Melania's closet and went through her underwear drawer and left it a mess because he had a classified document that he was legally entitled to have because he was a president of the United States. What I want to see is not trying to justify yourself to CNN. You never will do that. I want to see the press conference about the arrest of this leaker who may have committed espionage. And for that matter, I want to see Kash Patel and Dan Bongino at CNN demanding the computers and electronic devices with these classified documents on them and take them like they took items from Trump's home. That's the issue. That's the story to me. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. It's Jim from New York. How you doing?
Hey, Jim.
So can you imagine having to cohabitate with that nut that was on before the break?
Yeah. A useful idiot.
A useful idiot. And that's the thing. It's like her or that one dude from Minnesota who, you know, couldn't answer the question about letting illegals go into his house. When you present because the libs, they go based on emotion. And when you present them with facts and rational thought, like the way we operate as conservatives, they lose their minds and they can't control their emotion and they get crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's really scary. And I believe her that her grandfather was a Holocaust survivor. I could tell by the tone. She was probably telling the truth. And it's not, you know, if you have friends and family who are Jews and they send their kids off to college, it's not unusual for Jewish kids to come home from college siding with Palestinians and terrorists. It is very common. It's not unusual. I've seen it happen many times in my life.
And it's scary because they're so easily brainwashed. So many kids, and thank God. I mean, my kids, one survived college and came out still MAGA, and the other one is going in, and I have no doubt he'll survive because we've taught them not to be brainwashed by these people. But you're talking about this dude, who could be the next mayor of New York. It's scary. It's going to be, he gets elected, it's going to be like Escape from New York or like Mos Eisley Spaceport or something.
Well,
that's what New York City's going to be
listen,
like.
There's I read the breakdown of how things went down. I'm not going to go through it now, but there was a low turnout, about a 9% turnout in the primary. 9%. That's really low. So it's possible that he won in large part because of that, right? And they were able to target some specific people. But he won by a lot. But they only had a 9% turnout. So I don't know if we have a massive turnout, would that help or hurt him? Are people, I don't know.
I would sincerely hope. The thing is, when you had a big turnout, I saw a breakdown of who did come out, and it was the vast majority of people who voted for this guy were crazy white liberal women like the one who called before.
Young people
They're
too,
nuts.
under 40. It was under 35s, a lot of under 35s. It was young
it
and
seems
small.
Like it's a trend that has been a trend, which actually is more reality. That the biggest threat are these liberal white women.
Yes.
20s into their 30s and 40s. It's
That's right.
Scary. I don't understand.
No, it's really bad. And I that lady that called me a little bit ago, I mean, that's just sad. I mean, she's gone. And her parents, I mean, my goodness, her poor parents. I mean, could you imagine? You send your kid off to college. Your dad is a Holocaust survivor, and your daughter comes home from college siding with the terrorist. It's got to be very upsetting for parents.
It is. And instead of using this understanding significance of her grandfather surviving one of the most horrible things in history, she uses that as a shield. Well, I can say this because my grandfather survived the Holocaust. So I can say whatever I want and side with the terrorists and all this stuff. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, and I know some people are probably thinking, why don't I sit down and debate the liberty and all this stuff? I'm not going to sit down and debate the Nazis about the, I mean, I do comment on it, and I do, but I'm not going to have in-depth discussions with Nazis all day. I'm just not going to do that. That's just
because you're not going to change their minds.
No.
They're blinded by hate.
Yeah, you can't get through. It's just like this press conference with Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, CNN's going to go right on and say that what he said's not true. You're never going to get CNN to agree that it was a successful military operation, or the rest of the media. So going out there trying to get the media convinced and report the truth of what happened in Iran is useless, just like debating with Nazis.
Exactly. So it's just basically more of an echo chamber for us who understand it was successful.
Yep. All right.
Hey,
take
Brian,
care.
Great
Appreciate
show
the call.
always.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Todd from Sarasota.
Speak up, Todd in Sarasota. Speak up.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me,
yeah,
Brian?
I can.
Okay. Yeah. I think that when our founding fathers said it beautifully, specifically George Washington, when he said, "Beware of foreign entanglements." And I think at this point in the game, true Americans, people that consider themselves maybe a conservative or constitutionalist, are just tired of being involved with Israel and all of their stuff.
Now back to that again. Being.
It's like, what has Israel done for America in any way?
When you say beware of foreign entanglements, it doesn't mean avoid them.
Correct.
It just says be cautious about them. Take care. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Jonah. I'm calling from Alaska. It's a pretty great red state. I just wanted to ask about your opinion on this thing Netanyahu said in 2019. He said, anyone who wants to thwart the establishment of a Palestinian state has to support bolstering Hamas and transferring money to Hamas. This is part of our strategy, to isolate the Palestinians in Gaza from the Palestinians in the West Bank. Go fuck yourselves.
Okay, there we go. Last dump of the day, Mike. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you. If you or someone you know or love is suffering from neuropathy, I'm going to give you the number to Lighthouse Medical Center in a moment. And I want to highlight this. This is very, very important. Steve had neuropathy so bad, he couldn't get out of bed. And I went out and found Lighthouse Medical because Steve had that need. Lighthouse Medical, they treated Steve for his neuropathy 3 years ago. They rid him of his symptoms. In fact, I talked to him a day or two after his first treatment, and his symptoms were already going away. They treated him 3 years ago this very month, and his neuropathy symptoms have not returned. Is that absolutely amazing? And he had them all, and he had them bad. So Lighthouse Medical in Pompano, they have a treatment for neuropathy. They have a treatment for neuropathy that works, and they have a treatment for neuropathy that lasts, because here we have our test case of Steve Kane, 3 years, and it hasn't come back. They offer free consultations when you call if you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. And yeah, that's right. And only Steve Kane listeners get that free consultation. And they can help you no matter where you are located in the United States. Okay? They understand if you have neuropathy, you may not be able to make it into the office. So telehealth is available. Give them a call, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. 888-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. All right, now today's Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. And I can't believe it's going to be Friday already. Friday is open phones on the program. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. And on Friday's show, you're welcome to call in about any and everything on your mind. You don't have to even reference anything that we bring up on the program. The show prep is up to you all on Friday, and that's tomorrow. And, sometimes it's the best show of the week, and other times, well, it's a personal embarrassment. It's, some of the things that go on. But tomorrow is Open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's show. And I always look forward to that and hear your thoughts on what we should be talking about that maybe we haven't touched on during the week. But there is going to be today a lot of, and we will cover this tomorrow, the follow-up on this leaker to CNN. This is going to be the big test for Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. Okay? This was leaking is a crime. They've got to know who the leaker is by now, or have a small group of people they've narrowed it down to based on the documents that he gave to CNN. So the test is, will they arrest the leaker? I don't mean fire the leaker. Will Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, will they arrest the Pentagon leaker? Because that is a crime. And, we haven't seen any of these high-profile people get arrested. And I don't mean firing the leaker. I mean arresting the leaker and charging them, because it is a crime. According to the president, it's a crime. All right, everyone, I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We'll see you tomorrow morning with our Open MAGA Mike Friday at 6 a.m. God bless Donald Trump. See you then. All right. Those of you that are new, make sure that you subscribe, all right? And click that notification bell so you get a notification every time I go live. And if you're feeling very helpful, if you're already subscribed, share the program on your socials if you don't mind, all right? My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to